There is so much going on in the market right now. That is why you need to stay informed and aware. I'm your host, Andrew Savina, back again with another video at Life Launchpad, your go-to channel for practical advice and guidance to launch your dreams into reality. Today, we're bringing back another financial scoop video. I know it's been a couple of weeks, but today I wanted to make sure I got some content out and a video that is of high value. I mean, with the market, with so much going on in the market, it's important to talk about, keep you updated, keep you informed, get you prepared to know what's going on within the last couple of weeks to get you prepared for the next couple of weeks. With that being said, we're going to go hopping right into it with the Silicon Valley Bank. If you didn't know, earlier this year, around March, Silicon Valley Bank filed for bankruptcy. Silicon Valley Bank is a bank that was known for, funding a lot of these tech startups. It funded, and it's just been a big key factor for a lot of these tech companies that originate from Silicon Valley. Then, you might be confused with, this year, all these tech stocks doing so well. Why would the bank like this be going down? When you realize that interest hikes have been going up, loans have been, it's been hurting loans, causing less funding to be there, and that in turn just causes issues within the bank. That, along with it selling its bonds, this created a bunch of fear within investors, causing investors to pull out their money from the bank. The bank started losing the money that it had, and therefore, it had to file bankruptcy. There was nothing much more it could do. Thankfully enough, though, the FDIC, the Federal Deposit and Insurance Corporation, funded and backed up a lot of the purchases, or investments, I should say, that were made through the Silicon Valley Bank. Some of these being Sequoia Capital. They had $900 million that they got back-ended. They had $1 million deposited. They got $900 million back. There's Kazahuan, I think I pronounced it right, Kazahuan. They got around $902.9 million back. And then Alta Labs got $680.3 million back, which is, ridiculous amount. I believe in total, the FDIC returned $17.3 billion of funding. These are a lot of tech startups that are heavily supported by China, some of them United States, but there's just so many different ones that have been going through SVB, Silicon Valley Bank, that when it went bankrupt, they still needed funding, so the FDIC had to step in. And, this is really important news, because when you think about it, such a big bank in Silicon Valley, it's the main bank for tech startups. As tech is leading the way for 2023 in entire markets, it's important to analyze what this could be doing and how this could play out into the future for the rest of the year, the second half of the year. When you look at it, NASDAQ for year to date in 2023 is up around 40%, from around 10,000 points to 14, like upper 13, lower around 14,000 points, versus the Dow, which is up only 4.14% year to date. That's a big difference, 40 versus 4%. NASDAQ really has been carrying the market for this entire year, for this half of the year, I should say. Next thing we're going to is the bull markets. I'm going to break it down into 3 points: the good, the bad, the ugly. The good, European markets are doing good. The Europe 600 index ended up 3% on last week, and it's just showing really positive bull signs. And this is important because, you might be like, oh, Europe market's not related, but a good world economy is important. Making sure other markets are good. This past week, U.S. economy markets were pretty solid, stayed up in value. So, Europe and United States markets, two bigger markets, doing pretty well. That's pretty key. It has positive outlook, for the future, for the second half. But the reason that the European markets were up is because they just had report earnings for, their companies, and it had hit new peaks that since March, new peaks for the year since March, and that's a really good sign. Their companies are doing good, the markets are doing good, and reaching new peaks of 2023. Just a positive outlook for the market overall. World economy could be supporting the bull run. Who knows? Not a financial advisor. I'm just doing my research and sharing it with you guys as always. The bad. Citigroup CEO made a comment saying that there's been a decrease in banking, and it's just made for a decrease, bad and disappointing first half, second quarter, I should say, because they're talking about new earnings. New earnings are about to come out. Bad second quarter, so it's been disappointing for them. This could be, it's leading most banks. There's a lot of banks that have to report this week. Well, I'd say a good majority of banks have to report this week, but most banks have been down as of recently within the last week or a couple of weeks, except for JP Morgan and Chase. They have been steadily increasing. I believe they're around 140, 145 right now, which is a solid price. They're up a solid amount on this year, I can tell you that much. But, with all these banks, there's a lot of decrease in investments in banking, about 32% in investment revenue decrease. 32% is about a third. So it's showing the impact that's going on banks. Again, with all these interest rates, it's all dependent on the Fed and what happens with the rest of the year. I read somewhere that it might soften up, it might go down, but who knows? We never know. We'll have to wait and find out and see. But that wraps it up for the bad. And then the ugly, I would have to say, is China and their metal markets. China is, 85% of rare metals, earth metals, are exported from China. That's a majority of the market. And with its supply chain issues in China, this could lead for issues within AI, AI, this bull AI, just generation market, all heavily relies on the metals that are made in used in GPUs and CPUs coming from China. It's just causing a lot of havoc. It's making companies look at potential new countries, new places that they can import these metals from so that they don't have to deal with China, which makes sense. I mean, with the market and everything that's going on in China, the governments, all their policies that they're passing, it makes it hard to deal with them and then being able to profit with it. Tesla's having issues with their batteries coming from China. They're having to make issues with that. A lot of companies are really having issues with getting their metals, getting production out of China. It's causing a lot of issues and supply chain, production, and now, you have to look for the next best alternative. And, who knows what that could be? We have no idea. They're going to have to find out. We'll find out. Maybe China will loosen up. Maybe not. We'll never know. With that being said, though, that's a bit of a wrap up with the last couple of weeks. Stay informed, stay educated. Lots going on. Silicon Valley Bank could be although this was a month, 4 months ago, mainly there's still, more information being released and how it could impact the future for these tech companies. FDIC helping not rebuild, but fund them. A lot's going on. You never know what can happen. European markets, there's signs for bearish market, there's signs for bullish markets. It really just depends on how everything plays out, how banks, interest rates is going to be a big one. I believe the Fed has to report new interest rates in a month, maybe a little more, I think it's around a month. But we'll see how that impacts the market. New earnings for banks, that's also going to be a big thing. Are banks going up? Are banks going down? Obviously, as Citibank said, the 32% decrease, that's not too good of a sight. That wasn't Citibank, my bad. That was Morgan Stanley, I believe. Citibank just said it had a disappointing quarter. Mix those two up. All that being said, though, we will have to wait and see. Stay informed, stay educated. Remember, the power to chase your dreams. It lies within you. Don't stop learning, don't stop growing, don't stop launching towards your dreams. I'm your host, Andrew Savina, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.